Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. With I'm gonna burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. Toadstool Sports. This is going to be the final Bracketology video that I'm doing, the final episode here of this series. I will release a final Bracketology, whatever you want to call it. I do it in a spreadsheet. I don't lay out the whole bracket, and do the bracketing process, whatever. Maybe I should get cooler graphics, whatever. Maybe next year, I don't know. But I will release the final Bracketology spreadsheet once the games are done. We're trying to predict what the bracket's going to look like, man. So this is what it looks like as of right now. This is from late last night when I did this, or early this morning, if you want to call it that. We still have Duke as the overall 1 seed. I mean, I highly doubt that that's going to change. They won the ACC, and they already were there, so they're not going to drop. Michigan is in the second spot still. I mean, I guess maybe they drop behind Arizona if they lose today in the Big Ten title game, but they're still going to be a 1 seed, so they're there. Arizona is the third 1 seed. They did win the Big 12, so they're intact as a 1 seed, obviously, and they might leap Michigan, but it's not really going to matter. Between the second 1 seed, the third 1 seed, who really cares, right? Because the teams are going to pick the region that's most advantageous to them anyway, so they're going to wind up in the same regions regardless of the order. Then Florida, I still have as the last 1 seed. There's probably going to be some debate between Florida and Connecticut, but they both lost yesterday, so I just kept them in the same order because of that. You could debate which loss is less bad. I mean, they're both pretty equal, to be honest, with Florida losing to Vandy, Connecticut losing to St. John's. Those are both tournament teams that are close to the same seed line, so I think it remains this way. I think Florida's the last 1 seed, Connecticut's the top 2 seed. We'll see if the committee actually does that, though. I mean, I guess there might be some debate there. Houston remains on the 2 line. Iowa State also on the 2 line. I think there's going to be no debate there. There might be some debate on that last one. I was debating it myself. I still have Michigan State as the final 2 seed, but Purdue is kind of knocking on the door, and they play in the Big Ten final against Michigan, so they're on the 3 line. But if they win the Big Ten, I think they might move up to the 2 line. We'll have to see. Illinois is on the 3 as well. I think they're probably going to be kind of an underrated 3 seed. Nebraska, I think, is probably kind of an overrated 3 seed, I should say. They're on the 3 line. Gonzaga hasn't played for a while since they won their West Coast Conference again. They're remaining on the 3 line, but probably a little bit overseeded, given that I don't think they're going to have Huff for the tournament, so we'll see what happens there. Virginia played pretty competitively against Duke yesterday, man. So no shame in that. They remain on the 4 line. Alabama also is on the 4, even though they did take that loss to Ole Miss. Vanderbilt moved back up to the 4 line with that win over Florida, and they won the SEC. I have them projected to win the SEC right now. Oh, God. Jumping the gun there, jinxing them. They're projected to be the SEC winner for me right now. And then Kansas remains on the 4 line. Losing to Houston, not that bad, but the way they lost to Houston was kind of bad. Houston really dominated them. Arkansas is on the 5 line. Arkansas, pretty dangerous 5 seed, though, to be honest. I mean, they are going to be kind of matchup dependent, though. Texas Tech, unfortunately, did fall to the 5 line. Without JT Toppin, I mean, they just really don't look like the same team. So we're going to see they might be one of the more vulnerable 5 seeds. And I think St. John's might be as well. They're on the 5 line for me now with that win over UConn in the Big East final. They have won the Big East again. But St. John's, very similar profile to last year. Last year they were a 2 seed, so they were a very overseeded 2 seed. A 5 seed is probably more accurate for the seed line they should be, so they're not necessarily going to be an overseeded team, but not really a team that I'm looking to have going that far, to be honest. Because again, good defense, but they play fast and they can't score, and I just don't really love that combination, even though I like good defense. Wisconsin also has moved up to the 5 line. Pretty good showing in the Big Ten tournament for them. Tennessee on the 6 line, I just couldn't really do much with them. I think they're going to be a very underrated 6, to be honest. I think they're easily the best of these 6 seeds. Dangerous team, very good defense, can slow you down. They pretty much performed as expected in the SEC tournament. I expected them to beat Vandy, though. Maybe they should have, but that's the way that it is. Vandy, of course, Vandy just showed us how good they are with that win over Florida yesterday. I don't think Vandy is any sort of mirage or anything like that. Louisville, just a very schizo team. They're on the 6 line there. They take a ton of threes. They seem to not be able to beat teams that are better than them. North Carolina, I think they're also overrated. On the 6 line here, they, didn't have the greatest showing in the ACC tournament. They will not be with Caleb Wilson. He's not coming back, so yeah, I don't know. I don't love how it sets up for North Carolina. BYU remains on the 6 line. They did okay in the conference tournament. Lost to Houston as expected. Still without Richie Saunders. BYU, not a good defense. I don't know. To me, they seem like they're not going to do a whole lot in this tournament, in my opinion. But we got to see who they match up against. It is matchup dependent, and then it's going to depend on who's picking which teams as well, because I try to fade, what the public is doing, which you'll see when I do my bracket show. Kentucky on the 7 line. They're going to be a fairly dangerous 7, I think. This Kentucky team is not that bad. Miami also on the 7 line. They're also a team I can't really figure out. Their metrics are all right. They've been having a good season. First-year coach there with them. I don't know. St. Mary's on the 7 line. They're a team that we know exactly what they are. Slow down, play defense. We'll see what they can do there. UCLA has moved up to the 7 line with a good showing in the Big Ten tournament, which is lucky for them if they do get up to the 7 line, because if they're an 8 and they have to run into a 1, that's not going to be good for them. I don't really see them being able to beat one of the 1 seeds, but as a 7, they might be able to make a little bit of a run in this thing. I think they're, UCLA could be dangerous if they're healthy. They weren't healthy for a lot of the season. The 8 lines got Clemson, Georgia, Villanova, Utah State. Villanova dropped down. Ugly loss to Georgetown the other day. I'm not sold on Villanova at all. And then Utah State did win in the Mountain West, so they pretty much prevented a bid steal from happening in the Mountain West. Or they did, because they won it as the best team there. Georgia, they kind of faltered in the SEC tournament against Ole Miss. Hard to figure out what to do with them. And Clemson, they're a team, experienced coach. They've had good showings in the tournament before. 2 years ago they did, but maybe that was a little bit of an outlier, given that the other years they've been in the tournament, they haven't done well. So I don't know. But, they're an 8. Obviously, these 8 seeds, 8 and 9 seeds, I'm not going to be taking any one of them to get through one of the 1s, I don't think. These are very strong 1 seeds. Ohio State on the 9. Ohio State is going to be a dangerous team, though. So I think it'll set up better for them if they wind up on the 10 line, because they're actually really, really good with Thornton there. Very, very good player. They're more intact now than they have been all season. They're absolutely going to be in the tournament. No question about that. They were a bubble team for a while. So is TCU. They absolutely did enough to get in as well, more than enough. So they're going to be in. They're on the 9 line for me. St. Louis, even though they lost yesterday, really good season for them. We'll see if they can change their momentum a little bit coming into the real tournament, man, because I do have them in on the 9 line. Iowa also remains on the 9 line. Not going to get knocked too much for losing to Ohio State there, or the loss to Nebraska before that. UCF, they're a team, as I said, I think they're overrated. Like, I think they probably should miss the tournament, to be honest, but their resume is good enough. The analytics don't love them. They're on the 10 line there, and they're, in fact, one of the last 4 buys, along with Texas A&M, who did lose in the tournament, SEC tournament, to, who did they lose to? Oklahoma, I think. But A&M, I mean, they had a good enough season that I think they'll ride that and they'll get in. NC State, they're a very schizo team. The ACC is very, very hard to figure out who these teams are, man. Between Louisville, Miami, and NC State, I can't figure any of those teams out. They're in for me and on the 10 line. They faltered down the stretch, but I think they get in. Their loss in the ACC tournament, I think, to Virginia is not really going to hurt them. And then I have Santa Clara getting the last bye into the round of 64. I think they're safer than these other teams that I have on the bubble. That last spot into the round of 64 is really between them and Missouri. So that was kind of the call I had to make there. I have Missouri in the play-in. So the last 4 in that are having to go to Dayton for me now are Missouri, SMU, Texas, and Miami, Ohio. We'll see. I mean, the folks are not going to be happy. The Miami, Ohio crowd not going to be happy if they wind up in Dayton. But I think that might be where they might wind up going, man. And then, they'll play in their home state of Ohio for that. So we'll see. It'll be a weird matchup depending on which one of these. I mean, really against any of those teams. If they wind up in the first 4 against any of those teams, it'll be odd, I think. So we'll see. And then first 4 out, I have Auburn. I mean, Auburn is still in the discussion because their strength of schedule is so strong. If they'd beaten Tennessee, they might actually be getting into the tournament. Oklahoma, I think they were about 1 win away from probably getting in as well. If they'd beaten Arkansas, I think we might be talking about them getting. I think it was Arkansas. I think we might be talking about them getting in, but I think they didn't quite do enough. San Diego State got themselves right there on the verge, man. They had to beat Utah State, and they couldn't get it done. I think they're going to be out. And then Indiana, I think the rest of these teams I really don't see having a shot here. Indiana, they're not going to make it. And then I have the next 4 out: New Mexico, Cincinnati, Seton Hall, Stanford. For some reason, I see Stanford kind of still in the discussion. I moved them back into the next 4 out just for posterity, but there's no way. These teams are not making it. So, like, I would be shocked. But usually there's like one shocker, man. Like, last year it was kind of North Carolina, although you could kind of see it because North Carolina is a blue blood and their stupid athletic director is like the director of the committee or whatever. So I really do think some bias led into that. And it was just ridiculous that North Carolina, the betting odds had them like minus 1,000 to miss the tournament last year. And then, nope, they're in. But then that made me want to bet them in the first 4. And then, unfortunately, I think I did it again in the first round of the tournament. But, you got to watch for teams like that. The team that people say shouldn't be in. Like, if Auburn somehow gets in, everybody's going to, there's going to be like a mutiny, basically. And, like, they're going to be that team. If they get in, they're going to be that team that absolutely everybody thinks doesn't belong and whatever. So they're a team that I think would be worth betting on if they're in, like, in the play-in or something like that. So somebody to keep an eye on. I don't think it's going to happen, but, just somebody to keep an eye on. AJ, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Arizona's not the Bears. What? Arizona, the Wildcats there, right? Which I should congratulate all the auto bids that were clinched yesterday, which I will in a second. I'm going to go through all the auto bids right now. The American still has to be played. It's projected to be South Florida. They're projected to be an 11 seed for me here. They're favored. We'll see if they could do it. It's going to be them or Wichita State. So if it's Wichita State, we might see Wichita State on a lower seed line than that. Congratulations to the UMBC Retrievers. Is that their name? I think they're the Chesapeake Bay Retrievers, something like that. They get in. I have them on the 15 line now, so they were able to win the America East yesterday against Vermont. The Atlantic 10 is still up in the air. That's going to be one of the earlier games today. It's going to be VCU versus Dayton. I have VCU projected to win that as they are the favorite. They're getting an 11 seed for me. And if they lose, the bubble's going to get a little more interesting because VCU has a bubble resume here, man. So, obviously if Dayton wins, they have to get the auto bid. But I think if that happens, I think VCU gets into the tournament and Miami, Ohio might get bounced, dude. So Miami, Ohio, they're going to have to be rooting for VCU in this one. Because I think, dude, I'm serious. If Dayton wins that game, you might see a 3-bid Atlantic 10 here. It's possible. Yes, sir. All right. Then we have congratulations to the Duke Blue Devils. As expected, they won the ACC. They will be the 1 seed, the overall 1. I think unquestionably they will be. Queens won the Atlantic Sun a while ago. They're getting a 15 seed from me still. Congratulations, AJ, to your Arizona Wildcats. They are on the 1 line. They won the Big 12 yesterday. Houston made a huge comeback in that game. Houston had a 14-0 run in that game, and Arizona, they're one of the best teams at not allowing kill shots. The Evan Miyakawa, his kill shot, analytic that he uses, which is a 10-0 run from a team. Arizona, I think, allowed almost none all season, but they actually allowed one to Houston yesterday, and they still won. Arizona, very legit team, so they're there. Yes, I don't like Duke either. I do not, but I'm congratulating all of the winners here. I don't hate the boozers though, so I don't know, man. But I really, really don't like Duke though. Big East St. John's, congratulations to the St. John's Red Storm, the Johnnies. They won yesterday. They're getting a 5 seed for me in my bracketology here, but they won the Big East, getting revenge against Connecticut for a horrible showing in their previous game against Connecticut. Second straight year, St. John's wins the Big East, and they beat Connecticut 2 out of 3 times this year. Big Sky, Idaho won it a while ago. They're up to the 14 line for me here because of what happened in the Conference USA yesterday. We'll see what the actual committee puts them at, though. I kind of like that Idaho team, though, man. I don't know. It's soft spot for them, maybe for me, but I'm don't let bias affect your bracketing. I don't think they're gonna win a game or anything, but you never know. High Point won the Big South. They're in the tournament for the 2nd straight year. They're on the 13 line for me. They're going to be very matchup dependent, I think, although really I just don't really see a matchup for them that would really be advantageous enough. Looking at who their possible opponents are. I mean, if they wind up playing a slow team like Virginia that plays good defense, I don't know. We'll talk about it when the bracket comes out, but I still don't see that being good for them because High Point wants to go fast. They're not good on defense. A slow-down team will put them out of the style they want to play. But then if they play a fast-paced team like Alabama basically just does what High Point does, but way better. So High Point likely would not win that game either. So I don't know, man. I mean, maybe if they get a team that's just kind of a team that could be a mess at any given point, like Kansas, would maybe be the best draw for them. I don't know, man. Arizona better wins than Duke. Arizona, they beat Florida. Duke beat Michigan. Very good win there. Yes, Arizona, if Michigan loses today, Arizona might get the overall, the second 1 seed, but it's really not going to matter because, all it really does is determine what region you're in. So Duke, I think it does determine the side of the bracket you're on, I guess. So I think if they wind up being the overall 2, I think that will put them on the opposite side of the bracket from Duke, so they wouldn't match up until the final. I think that's basically the only difference. Looking way too far ahead probably, but other than that, Duke, they'll get the overall 1 seed. They'll be able to choose their region. They're going to choose the East because Washington, D.C. is the best regional location for them. They'll have a lot of fans there. Then if it's Michigan, Michigan's going to choose the Midwest. And then if it's and then Arizona would still get their choice of San Jose or Houston to go to. So, they'll choose either the West or the South. And that's still going to be the case. So if Arizona gets the 2nd seed or, they get the 3rd 1 seed, they'll still be able to pick whichever one of those they want. Because Michigan, if they get to choose before them, will take the Midwest. Unless they just want to fuck everybody up. I don't know. Fuck things up. Congratulations to the Hawaii Warriors, like, dude, I don't think they're called the Rainbow Warriors anymore, but I watched some of that game last night, and the announcers were calling them the Bows, the Rainbow Warriors. I'm like, I thought they got rid of that because it's gay. I don't know. I think they're just the Warriors now, but I don't know. But congratulations to Hawaii. They haven't been in the tournament for like a decade. I have them getting a 13 seed, which is where they were. The last time they were in the tournament, they were a 13 seed, and they upset the Cal Bears, who had Jaylen Brown on their team. Boston Celtic, Jaylen Brown, if people remember that game. And I think they wound up in a 13 versus 12 matchup, if I remember correctly, in kind of a chaotic region there. That might have been the one, was that the one where Little Rock had that ridiculous, like, double overtime win over Purdue? Was that the same? Maybe, I don't know. Am I misremembering that? Was that the same year, same region there? Maybe I'm misremembering that. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look. My bracket autism usually is pretty good, but not right now. Hofstra won the Colonial, which I'm still calling it that a while ago. They're on the 13 line here for me. Congratulations to the Kennesaw State. What the fuck are they? I don't even. They're the Owls, I think. Yeah, the Owls. They're getting a 15 seed for me. Excuse me. They beat Louisiana Tech in that chaos, that chaotic conference tournament there in Conference USA. Congratulations to them. They got it done. Wright State won the Horizon a while back. They're on the 14 line for me. Yale is projected to win the Ivy for me. They are a huge favorite today, so they should win. I mean, hopefully, because I think they're going to be an interesting tournament team. They'll be on the 12 line for me if they get in, which hopefully they can get that done because they should. They are the best team in the Ivy. They better get it done. That game's coming up shortly. Siena winning the MAAC a while ago. I guess they're changing their name, which kind of angers me because, dude, like, it's been the MAAC for so long, and that's what we call it, man. We don't call it that because we hate the conference. We call it that to distinguish it from the MAC. They're the MAC. Siena got that win. They're a 16 seed for me. They're really, I don't know, man. I mean, they're not that great of a team, so that's where I got them. Congratulations to the Akron Zips, who had another really close call in the MAC final and won again against Toledo this time yesterday. They're getting a 12 seed from me. They've won that tournament, I think, 4 of the last 5 years now. I don't know how many guys return. I know 2 years ago they had a lot of returning starters. I think from the previous, like, they had that Akron team that almost beat UCLA a few years ago. A lot of those guys returned in their next tournament appearance. Maybe that was last year, actually. I don't remember. Last year they got manhandled by AJ's Arizona team, though, so I don't know. We'll see who Akron draws for their first-round matchup, man. Then we got congratulations to the Howard Bison. As expected, they did win the MEAC yesterday. It was maybe a bit closer than people thought it would be. I told you I didn't think they would cover that massive number in that game, but it was highly unlikely they would lose. That conference is just so putrid. Howard's significantly better than the rest of it, even though they're still not that good. They are a 16 seed. They've won that conference 3 of the last 4 years. I think they're getting a play-in game for me in my bracket here. Northern Iowa won the MVC a while ago. Missouri Valley, they're getting a 12. They're probably the most interesting of these mid-major teams to me as far as, like, upset potential, which people are probably not going to think that at all because who is this, 6 seed, that won this Missouri Valley conference where all the best teams got knocked out? That's not really true. Northern Iowa is the second best team in that conference and the best defense, and they play slow, so they could really mess up a team that doesn't want to play that way. You know what I mean? Like, they could be a very frustrating opponent for somebody. Congratulations to the Utah State Aggies, who did win the Mountain West yesterday against San Diego State, probably ending their tournament hopes. Utah State getting an 8 seed from me. Long Island won the Northeast Conference a while ago. They're on the 16 play-in line from me. Tennessee State won the Ohio Valley a while ago. They're getting a 15 seed from me. Lehigh won the Patriot a while ago. They're really bad, and they're in the last of the 16 play-in games from me. People seem to think Lehigh deserves like a higher seed than this just because they're in the Patriot. The Patriot League, besides the Navy, the Patriot League was unbelievably bad this year, like abysmal. What happened in Navy was BS for the most part with that clock management, even though I should root for BU because my family all went to BU and whatever, and I'm from Boston. But I want the best teams to get into, and I think Navy would have been a very interesting tournament team. Lehigh, they're even worse than people think they are, dude. They suck bad. Like they were the 2 seed in that conference, and they were probably like the 4th or 5th best team in that awful conference. So yeah. I have Vanderbilt projected to win the SEC. I would not be shocked if Arkansas did it, though. It'll be one of the two. If Vandy wins, there is the possibility they move all the way up to the 3 line. I don't know if I would go that far, though. But Gonzaga just seems like they're kind of just in the 3 seed by default right now, I don't know. Arkansas, if they happen to win it, they might actually move up and bump Kansas down, which, would be kind of interesting. We'll see. So we'll see who wins the SEC. Furman won the SoCon a while back. They're getting a 16 seed from me. That was a very down conference this year. I know people remember Furman beating Virginia a few years back. Not the same team this year, not as good, although, granted, I will say they were pretty unhealthy, dealt with a lot of injuries during this season, and Furman is a more intact team now, so they are probably a little bit better than a 16 seed. Maybe the committee will put them a little bit higher, but we'll see. McNeese won the Southland, and they're getting a 12 from me. They'll be an interesting team again. They did pull off an upset last year, but everybody remembers that now, so they might be a little bit too trendy. Congratulations to the Prairie View A&M Panthers, who won the SWAC as the 8th seed, beating both of the top 2 teams in the conference, who were Bethune-Cookman and Southern. Even though those were the 1 and 3 seeds, those were the best teams in the conference. I don't know how Prairie View A&M did it, but they are the last team on the entire board for me here. Like looking at the analytics and stuff, they're actually even worse than Lehigh. So they're definitely going to be in one of the play-in games. I'm not even sure they have an above 500 record. I think if they do, it's barely above 500. North Dakota State won the Summit a while back. They're on the 14 line for me. Sunbelt Troy won it a while back. They're on the 14 line as well. Gonzaga won the West Coast, as I said. They're on the 3 line. And then congratulations to the Cal Baptist Lancers, who won the WAC last night. They were on the 13 line. It really took, like, a total implosion from Utah Valley, dude. That was insane. Utah Valley, they paid the extra money to play in the WAC tournament. Last year, they're going to be in the WAC. They had the game in hand. They're winning the game down the stretch. They had a 7-point lead with like 2 minutes left in a very defensive, low-scoring game. That was a monster lead. And then all of a sudden, I forget the guy's name on Cal Baptist, their 3-point shooter who was missing everything all game, started hitting threes. He hit a 3, hit another 3. Utah Valley missed a lot of free throws towards the end. They missed 10 free throws in the game, I think, but they missed a lot of them down the stretch. That one white guy, they have a lot of white guys on Utah Valley, but that white guy that kept getting fouled, going to the line, he missed like half of his free throws at the end, which would have been very important. Cal Baptist, yeah, I mean, the guy that they have there hit 3, I think, really, really clutch 3-pointers for them, and that's how they wound up doing it. And then Utah Valley had a nice play at the end of the game where they had basically an alley-oop set up, and they were going to have the dunk to tie the game and send it into overtime pretty much, and they missed the dunk with 2 seconds left, and then they couldn't get the foul off because Cal Baptist threw the ball up court and wound up avoiding getting fouled and won the game. Just ridiculous. Now, whichever team won that, either team was going to be a first-time tournament team. Me, I like the strongest team to get into the tournament, and that would have been Utah Valley. Cal Baptist, second-best team in the WAC. They are now in the tournament, and they're still good enough for me. I look at the analytics and stuff to try to figure out where I think they're going to get seeded, and I put them on the 13 line, but compare what I have here to what the actual bracket winds up looking like, and you might be able to find some teams that are under or overseeded in these mid-majors here, because I'm arranging it like pretty much exactly by the analytics. But, of course, the committee doesn't do that, and I'm supposed to be trying to predict what the committee's going to do, but I think this is a decent approximation of what they're going to wind up doing. So, because I think they do actually look at that stuff too. And that is it, man. Oh, and I always compare to Joe Lunardi here before I get out of here. He updated his. He always updates his like right at the end too. He'll probably release one more update today. He did release an update pretty much right when I updated mine. right after that whack game finished. He updated his at 2:15 a.m. That's around the time that I did as well. He's got Duke, Michigan, exactly what I have pretty much. I think Arizona and Florida all getting 1 seeds in the same regions that I would have as well, in the same order as well. So, yes, I agree with that. We agree on all the 1 seeds. He's got some differences in here. He's got Gonzaga on the 4 line. They just dropped to the 4 line. He moved Virginia up to the 3. So interesting there. You know, I could see that being the case. He actually just moved Purdue up to the 3. So, you know, they probably, according to Lunardi, I guess they probably won't even get a 2 even if they win today. But I don't know. So those are some of the differences. We both moved Vandy up to the 4 line, but we're pretty similar here, man. You know, not that Lunardi is, you know, like the guy for everything. And he also dropped Texas Tech, as I did as well. And unfortunately, dropped Tennessee, as I also did. So we are pretty much in line here, man. I don't look at Lunardi's before I do it. So, but, you know, I mean, he's the most famous of the bracketologists, so that's why I look at his. He's the ESPN guy. His last 4 buys are Texas A&M, NC State, Santa Clara, and UCF, which are exactly what mine are. All on the 10 line for me. So I swear I didn't look at his, man. We're exactly the same there. His last 4 in are exactly the same as mine as well. Missouri, Miami, Ohio, SMU, and Texas, although in a different order. We've ordered things differently. So Lunardi and I have the exact same pretty much, which, you know, I don't know if that's good or if it's bad. His first 4 out are a little bit different. He's got Oklahoma, Auburn, San Diego State, New Mexico. I have Indiana above New Mexico, and that's the only difference we have. His next 4 out are Indiana, Stanford, Cincinnati, Seton Hall. I swear I didn't look at it, man. I have the same teams. Like, all the teams that we have in our bracketology are all the same now. So we have the same 76 teams. I think all of them the same, and the same actual field of 68 and the same field of 64 here now. Crazy that we're that in alignment, but that's the way that it is. I like to go against Lunardi, though, man. I like to have like some difference in there or something. But we'll see. Dude, if Dayton wins, maybe we will wind up with a little bit of a difference here. Because, you know, we both have to have VCU as a projected auto bid right now, right, from the and I'm assuming, like, you know, he's got St. Louis in. Yeah, he still does, so there's no difference. So I think we have the exact same field overall. But, yeah, like, if Dayton wins, and then we have to figure out what to do with VCU, because they would no longer be the auto bid that we're projecting here. Lunardi, yeah, they're going to be in the bubble mix somewhere, and I would probably still have them in, and I would bump Miami, Ohio, and Lunardi might have VCU in as well, and he might bump Texas. So it's going to be really interesting what happens there, man. So we might wind up with one difference that way. Other than that, I think it's going to be the same, though, and that's going to do it. AJ, thanks for hanging out, man. I'm going to release one more update to the bracketology. No more videos for it, but I'm going to release one, like, really close to when the brackets release. I'll tweet it out. You know, it won't be very different from this at all, though. It'll hardly be different at all. And I just told you, like, the only thing that's really going to change is going to be dependent on that A-10 game there, pretty much. So that's going to do it. Learn to Tone on Twitter. Learn to Tone on Instagram. You know, we got, you know, like, subscribe to the channel here, of course. Give me good comments, whatever. Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you, sir. I got to check out your channel, man. I'll do that. Yes. All right, good point. Yeah, I don't put my shorts are all on Instagram. I don't put them up on YouTube. I don't know. Maybe I got to change something here, but you're right. I'll add some hashtags to this shit. Kind of too late. Maybe it's not too late because I'm going to have my bracket show. And what I'm going to do a bracket reaction show tonight, and then I'm going to do one where I fill out my bracket probably on like Wednesday night. And I do it in an insane way. With a lot of spreadsheets, and it's actually based on game theory, like public, like you'd think it would be on analytics, but it's not really. It's mostly like public perception versus reality, pretty much is kind of how I do it. To try to game theory the bracket. But yes, thank you, sir. I'm gonna go subscribe to you once I'm done here. Listen on audio too. This podcast is on audio. I don't put the bracketology videos up on audio, but the rest of the things are up, including my morning show where I talked about the betting breakdown for today. No bets for me today, but go check the morning show out if you want to see how I broke down every game today. College basketball, NBA, and NHL. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel on YouTube. You can check that out. Oh, right. Yeah, this is on audio. Like I said, Apple, Spotify, you can review there. But yes, Covered in Uke. I do Uke covers. You can check that out as well. That's on YouTube. Patreon.com/LearnToToad. You can throw some support that way. Get some bonus content. I got to figure out how to up my game over there. I know. I apologize. And then Losercast, the comedy podcast that I'm on, is every Tuesday night. That's going to do it. AJ, I appreciate it. I appreciate the tips, sir. Yes, I'll be back on tonight with a reaction show, I guess, after the bracket is released. That'll do it for now. Peace.